Hey all, welcome to day 8 of our 40 days of AWS class. Today we're gonna learn how to create a scaling policies in a auto scaling group. So for that we are going to create a we already have our auto scaling group created, what we have created in our earlier lectures, and we can see that we have desired minimum and maximum capacity of 2 instances here, right? Now we are going to create a scaling policy in this auto scaling group, which will spin up our instance depending upon that requirement. Okay, so if you see this scaling policy, we have 3 types of scaling policy. One is dynamic, predictive, and scheduled. In scheduled one, you can schedule your scaling policy depending upon your load. If you want, you want your scaling policy, you want to scale your instances maybe on Friday after 5 p.m. right? So you can schedule that way. So after 5 p.m. on Friday you got multiple instances, and depending upon your limit, and it increases your instancing depending upon your schedule, right? So, and the next is we have predictive scaling policy. So this policy will increase your instances depending upon that analysis of your data, and we are getting multiple options like CPU, network, and in network out, right? So it's you can schedule it on depending upon that what parameter you need to monitor, and then it scales your instances depending upon your requirement, right? Since it needs more time to get the analytics, so I'm not able to create it. And so the next is our dynamic one, where we're going to create our scaling policy. We have multiple scaling policies in dynamic scaling policy. Like it's a simple one, step, and the tracking one. For simple, you can say scale it out, you can add, remove, and set to in this. And for this we have to create a CloudWatch alarm, so and then it works accordingly. For similar to that step scaling, we can also have to create a CloudWatch alarm, and then we can add, remove, or step in with respect to that capacity unit or percentage of group as well. So you can increase the percentage depending upon your requirement. Then next is we have target tracking scaling policy. It's a very simple policy, right? So you can see that this is a policy name, and we are going to set this scaling policy on depending upon the average CPU utilization. Okay, so let's say I'm making it 30% CPU utilization and creating it. So what it does is if my CPU utilization is more than 30%, it spin up the new instance, and we'll see that and it will reduce the load on that instance on the basis of CPU utilization. And if CPU utilization below 30% on our instances, then it becomes it's scale in our availability of EC2 instances, right? So here you can see that we have only one EC2 instance running for now, as we have our desired capacity. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect to my EC2 instance and run a stress load in this. Okay, so let me connect it to it. Okay, so I'm just going to check for that command available to run on Amazon Linux machine to install that stress command. So let me search it, stress Amazon Linux to machine. You can check this link. So it is asking me to let me copy paste this, go here, but I believe this command will not work because we have now this command has not been there. So we have we can use yum command to install it. Okay, but let me run yum command to go and search it for. Nowadays you can use a yum command directly to install that packages. So let me first do yum update, and let me install sudo yum install stress command. Let me do it. Yes. So that stress command is installed. Now I'm going to run stress on my CPUs. So you can use your all these 4 CPUs as well. So let me run it for some time. And I'll monitor my instances now. When that CPU utilization will go more than 30%, it spin my another EC2 instance. Okay, so it take time, like it takes around 15 minutes to get that alarm created and monitor those. So yeah, meanwhile I'm just checking my CPU utilization. Yeah, okay, so now we can see that CPU utilization is 0%, but we'll wait for a couple more minutes to see that CPU utilization will be increased, right? So yeah, here you can see that CPU utilization now start increasing, but still not crossing the mark of 30%, so we can't see that. Yeah, now you can see that CPU utilization is increased to 90% above. So we can see that in our in instances, you can see that there is another instance got created when this our auto scaling group create a CloudWatch log alarm, and because of that alarm our scaling policy will get initiated and increase that EC2 instance, right? So let me open the CloudWatch logs. Now let me go to alarms in CloudWatch logs. You'll see that, yeah, you can see that there's 2 alarm got created, right? One is your OK alarm, and another one is this we are in alarm. You can see that CPU utilization is greater than 30. Okay, so if this is the case, you can go to your EC2 instances and you will see that in EC2 instance will be spun by our policy. Yeah, now you can see that EC2 instance is in initializing state, right? So it has been spinned by our auto scaling policy. And you can see that the EC2 instance which is got spinned here will be added to our target groups which we have created, right? So because this is associated with this target group, you can see that that instance has been added and it is shown here, right? So once it is initialized, you will be seeing this as a healthy instance here, and it takes a couple more minutes to get it into healthy stage, so we have to wait for that time. Meanwhile it is getting installed. Let me see if my instances get 2x2 check pass. So it takes some time to be 2x2 check pass. Yeah, now you can see it's 2x2 check pass. So I'll go back to my target groups. I'll show you that it is still showing 1. Let me refresh it. Okay, it may take a couple seconds to get reflected here. So let me go back to my auto scaling group distribution list. Yeah, it is there. So just wait for a couple more minutes to get it refreshed. Yeah, it is still initializing stage. Yeah, now it comes healthy. Okay, so now you can see that both instances are created here depending upon the load. So our auto scaling group policy, that scaling policy which we have created, initialize sense that our CPU is getting more utilized, so hence that is there is a need for another EC2 instance, so it creates that. Okay, so now I'm just cancelling that stress load and see that CPU is utilization is 0%. So now I'm going to see that our instance will be terminated, right? So it takes time about 15 minutes for EC2 instance to be drained out by seeing that alarm in the CloudWatch alarm by the policy. So for the time being, I'm just pausing my video for that. Okay, so once it is back, I'll show you how it looks like. But before going that, I just show you that what's the current status of CPU utilization for those servers, right? So this is the new server which we have spinned. It is like around 40%, but it is coming back to 30% when we see in some more time. Okay, so let me go to monitoring to that other instance. Yeah, it is still there, but it will be coming down soon when we have other instance up and running and taking the load, right? So let me go and check alarms if there is any alarm for that. Yeah, so once our instance got spin and load will be reduced after 15 minutes, that you will see that alarm triggered here for stating that load is less than 30%. So it's going to spin our like it will be scale in our instance, and it will terminate our another instance. Okay, yeah, you can see that here another event has been triggered, so it is collecting the data for that CPU utilization for the instances. So yeah, you can see that data has been collected. Yeah, I'll just wait for a couple more minutes to see that instance will be drained out. Okay, so now CPU utilization is below 30%, so we'll see in some time our EC2 instance will be terminated. Yeah, you can see that there is a alarm in CloudWatch alarms, so it is showing that CPU is below 21% for last 15 minutes. So yeah, it triggers our scaling policy, which terminates our instance depending upon our load, right? So this is how our scaling policy, dynamic scaling policy work in auto scaling group. It increase the number of instances depending upon your maximum limit of your instances, and reduce the number of instances depending upon your load, right? So yeah, that's all in this scaling policy. Thank you, hope you enjoy it.